Okay, we're having technical problems. I'm going to start the sermon over again. I'm not sure how much of it was recorded or not. So anyways, unless I see the mark of the nails in his hands and put my fingers in the mark of the nails and my hand in his side, I will not believe. That one sentence has left Thomas labeled Doubting Thomas. That's the Thomas with whom we're most familiar. Maybe, however, there's another side to Thomas, a twin that we often overlook. And that's the Thomas that wants to believe. That's the Thomas Jesus comes to in today's gospel. Now, this is a story about believing, not doubting. If it tells us anything, it tells us that resurrection is difficult to accept and to believe. It's not just an idea or a fact to which we give agreement or assent. It's a whole new way of being. If we're not wrestling with what resurrection means, its place in our life and how it manifests itself, then maybe it's just not that real for us. Thomas may be the one that gets labeled, but the other disciples also reveal the difficulty of believing. On the evening of the first day of the week, the day Jesus was resurrected, they're hiding. God opened the tomb and they locked the doors. God emptied the tomb and they filled the house. Jesus appears to them in their locked room. He speaks to them. He breathes life into them. And a week later, they're in the same place, behind the same locked doors. Not much has changed. Despite how we've labeled him, Thomas is not doubting. He's struggling with how to believe and what to believe in. He wants to see and touch for only one reason, so that he too might believe. Now, there's something faithful and authentic about that. It's a struggle most of us probably know. What do you want to believe about Jesus' resurrection? What gets in the way? What makes it difficult to believe? How are you wrestling and struggling with the resurrection of Jesus in your life? I want to believe that Jesus' resurrection offers peace, but I see wars across the world, families in conflict, and relationships broken. I want to believe that Jesus' resurrection overcomes death, but I still cry for and feel the absence and loss of too many of my brothers and sisters. I want to believe that Jesus' resurrection is real, but I don't see much difference between my life this week compared to the week before Easter. On the sufficiency of the evidence, each condition becomes just another lock on the door. It won't keep Jesus out, but it will keep us trapped inside, and it won't be long before our house becomes our tomb. The resurrection of Christ does not meet our conditions. It empowers and enables us to meet our conditions. It lets us unlock the doors and step outside even when we don't know what's on the other side. The resurrection does not end wars. It reveals the sanctity and dignity of life so that we might speak and work for justice, freedom, and peace. It's the compassion behind the tears we weep and the prayers that we offer for relationships and resolve conflict. It's the power by which we love our neighbor and ourselves. The resurrection does not eliminate our pain or tears over the death of a loved one. It's the strength to meet the days to come with steadfastness and patience, not sorrowing as those without hope, but in thankful remembrance of God's great goodness and in the joyful expectation of eternal life with those that we love. The resurrection does not offer measurable results, productivity, or efficiency. It guarantees our life and our future with God. Resurrection is not an idea to be grasped or a case to be proved. It's a life to be lived. Every time we live in the power of the resurrection, we engage the world, one another, and our life in a new way.
Of the people. Through the blessing and mystery of God, the ordinary elements of bread and wine took on holy significance and great power. God still takes the ordinary offerings of people and blesses them. They then become powerful as the tools and the means to do the ministries of Christ. Shall we present our offerings to God for blessing and empowering to be used in the mission of Christ? You may send your offerings to First Christian Church Morgantown through the Give button on our church website, or you may continue to mail your offerings to the
First, we have celebration that we talked about earlier. The DWF hosted a baby shower yesterday for Sarah Howard and Derek Woodford. We had about 27 people in attendance for the baby that's due in May, so that was exciting. Carla begins six weeks of radiation tomorrow. Treatments will be Monday through Friday, so let's keep Carla in our thoughts and prayers. And
died, and was laid to rest, sealed in a tomb. And on the third day he arose from the dead. It came to me that Pontius Pilate wanted so much power and control over Judea that he began a crusade to suppress the freedoms of all those in his jurisdiction. This led me to inquire about the leadership of various tiers of the Roman Empire during Jesus' time, with hope of gaining a better understanding why Jesus was senselessly and violently executed. Pontius Pilate was appointed prefect, or governor of Judea, through intervention of Sejanus, a favorite of Emperor Tiberius. Protected by Sejanus, Pilate endured much criticism by some for his disapproval of religious sensibilities and for eliciting pagan symbols. His wife sends him word one time of a revelationary dream she had about Jesus and urges him to, quote, have nothing to do with that innocent man, unquote. But he persisted. Ultimately, Caligula became emperor of Rome and saw what Pilate was doing. Pilate was ordered back to Rome to stand trial for cruelty and oppression based on the charges that he had executed men without proper trial. Pilate eventually killed himself on orders of the Emperor Caligula. This is just a brief synopsis of the events leading to the crucifixion of Jesus. Our gathering at this communion table is our way of not only partaking of the elements of bread and cup, which symbolizes Christ's body and blood, it also reminds us of the celebration of his death and resurrection on Easter Sunday, and the remembrance of his sacrifice every Sunday.